Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Carmen Andrea Harris of BohemianAcademics.com. I teach mompreneurs how to create a homeschool plan that flows and fits with their lifestyle as well as their state law. You can learn more about me, my services, and you can get a free homeschool cheat sheet by visiting the link in the description box, which is BohemianAcademics.com. So a little bit about me, just very briefly. I am a homeschool mom. I taught elementary school for 6 years in Atlanta public schools, and I am also a certified life coach and an advocate for parents being able to teach their children their way. So you can think of me as the parent's teacher or the mom's teacher, okay? I teach you how to teach your children in a way that fits your lifestyle, but that is also compliant with whatever state that you are in. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about how to homeschool in South Carolina. So if you live in the state of South Carolina and you have been considering homeschool, however, you don't know the first step, you don't know the rules, you don't know where to go, who to notify, what to do, then you are in the right place. So let's go ahead and get into it. In my previous videos, I talked about how to homeschool in Florida, how to homeschool in Georgia, how to homeschool in North Carolina. And if you caught that North Carolina video, I apologize for the video cutting off at the end. I had my timer set for my children. They are doing their math, and I had the timer set for when they were going to switch from math to language arts. Totally forgot to turn the timer off, but blame it on my head and not my heart. So let's get into it. How to homeschool in South Carolina. By now, if you have watched any of my videos on how to homeschool in whatever state, you know that there are 7 components for each state homeschool law. You have options for homeschooling, school required for ages, notification requirements, teacher qualifications, state mandated subjects, assessment requirements, and immunization requirements. So for the state of South Carolina, let's just go ahead and get into it. So there are 3 options for homeschooling in the state of South Carolina. Option number 1 is the state statute, and it's pretty detailed in my opinion, just coming from teaching homeschool in Florida and Georgia. So you have 3 options for homeschooling. You have the state statute, you have the option to connect with the South Carolina Association of Independent Homeschools, and then you also have the 3rd option, which is to get into communication and relationship with the Homeschool Association, which is also considered a 3rd-party option. Now, option number 1, homeschooling under that state statute, they have a couple of little, I guess you can say, subtitles or requirements within homeschooling under the state statute. So I want to go ahead and get into those. So if you determine that you're going to homeschool under the state statute, then number 1, you have to obtain approval from the district board of trustees. You have to obtain approval from the district board of trustees. I haven't studied homeschool state laws in depth, but I have studied them on the surface, and I haven't yet come across a state where you have to actually get approval to homeschool. So you have to submit approval, or you have to submit your application, and then you have to wait to get approved by the district board of trustees. Number 2, you have to teach the required subjects, which we're going to get into the required subjects a little bit further down the line. You have to maintain records. You have to submit a semi-annual progress report. You have to make sure that your student or your students, your children or your child, has access to a library facility. And then you have to test your child annually. So those are the 6 requirements of homeschooling under the South Carolina state statute. Next up, we have the school required for ages. Children between the ages of 5 to 17 are required to be in school if you decide that you're going to homeschool your children. Notification requirements. There are no notification requirements except for if you decide to homeschool under option 1, which is the state statute. And you know, I just said it, you have to obtain approval first before you can homeschool your child. Next up, we have the teacher qualifications. These are the qualifications for the person or the people who are going to be homeschooling your children, whether it's you or if you're going to hire a teacher or a tutor. They must have a high school diploma or a GED in order to be qualified to teach your child in a homeschool setting. State mandated subjects. Yes, there are state mandated subjects in the state of South Carolina under the homeschool law. The required subjects that you must teach are reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. If your child is in 7th through the 12th grade, in addition to reading, writing, math, science, and social studies, you also have to teach composition and literature. You have to teach your child for 4.5 hours a day, and there has to be 180 days logged in your school year, okay? And what I noticed with South Carolina versus Georgia is that because Georgia requires 4.5 hours a day as well, with the exception of if your child physically cannot homeschool for that long. However, in South Carolina, it does not have that little clause within the requirements for the amount of time. You have to teach your child for 4.5 hours a day, and these 4.5 hours cannot include lunch or recess. So they wrote this out in their law, very different from Georgia, where it's 4.5 hours a day unless your child can't physically do it. Here, they want to specify that it's 4.5 hours a day, and it cannot include recess or lunch. So 4.5 hours of instruction, and it has to be 180 days, okay? And then assessment requirements. There are no assessment requirements unless you go with option 1, which again, that is teaching under the state statute, and you have to submit that semi-annual progress report and then the annual testing. And then last but not least, immunization requirements. There are no immunization requirements to homeschool in the state of South Carolina. So that is the homeschool law for South Carolina in a nutshell. Again, my name is Carmen. You can go to bohemianacademics.com to learn more about my services, how I can help you to create a homeschool plan that fits your lifestyle as well as your state law. And you can also get a free homeschool cheat sheet. So thanks so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and join my email list so you can get that free cheat sheet. And then also so you can get updates and just information on the homeschool process. So I'll see you all on the next video. Thank you.